But as I was going through one of these posts, I think it was on TikTok or something, I was just scrolling through. I came across a video that was saying that the real reason behind. Remember last week we were talking about the week before we were talking about how that war Netanyahu had apparently told his soldiers to stand back. So it's almost like Hamas played into the what Israel wanted them to actually do, attack first, and then they have the upper hand to then clear them out. So apparently, the real reason why they want to do that is because they want to build their own canal. Now, if you know politics, geopolitics, you'd understand that between the continents of Asia, if we're looking at the map, if we're looking more to the west, the only way you can come through from the west going to the fastest way is going through the Suez Canal. The Suez Canal is owned by Egypt. Egypt, we all know they're Muslims. So they control the Suez Canal as a country. So this is the most important canal that you could, in fact, passing that you use coming from the west. Of course, we do have the Panama Canal, which is in South America, which also maybe one day we'll touch about that as well. But yeah, this canal is owned by Egypt, and apparently the Americans and the Israelis are not happy. A lot has also happened. A few years ago, that ship that was grounded and it blocked a lot of ships. The Suez Canal is quite shallow.
It's narrow as well.
It only
It's
allows
very narrow,
it's narrow, yeah. So it only allows ships going in one direction. So it's apparently 6 hours ships from one direction going this way, and 6 hours ships going in this direction. So it obviously holds a lot of business. And that being said, Egypt is the one that's making most of the money. So apparently there's now a plan that they want to cut across. Fortunately, I don't really know the names of the places, but apparently Israel has an opportunity to cut across and form their own canal. And guess where that canal touches the sea on the other end of the of the ocean? Right,
Gaza.
right
Gaza
where
Strip.
Gaza is.
Yes.
Because what they want to do, they want to use the Gulf of Arabia.
Yeah.
From the apparent information, which is saying that if you look even close on the map, from the Gulf of Arabia, it's right on the bottom corner of Israel.
Yeah.
And the Gaza Strip is right at the top.
Exactly.
So if they are able to build their own canal through there, it will save a lot of, issues through that shipping route. Because the Suez Canal and the Gulf of Arabia, they meet at that corner. There's a corner which they meet where it becomes the Suez, and then it becomes the Gulf of Arabia.
Exactly.
And then the Gulf of Arabia has got, Saudi Arabia and Jordan. So again, with allegedly, some of the backing why Israel is going a full hog is because Saudi Arabia is allowing it.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia has been quiet.
Oh, yeah. I found that very interesting. It makes a lot of sense. Because obviously if they left Gaza where it is, it would mean for them to succeed in getting that canal, channel, or whatever you might call it, across, they would need to engage with Hamas. And we all know they're not willing to do that for anything. They would want to own that land, because obviously these are billions of dollars that they're looking to make, trillions rather, that they're going to make here. So I just found that to be quite interesting. So the canal, they're saying it's going to be named after Ben Gurion. It's called the Ben Gurion Canal. It's being named after the founding father of Israel, the first prime minister of Israel. So, yeah, some interesting facts there coming out. It's going to cost about $55 billion or more. So, yeah, interesting facts.
Yeah, look, as I said, with this war, there's a lot of hidden unknowns, which we which we don't know because, as I said, yes, we know, with any plot, no one knows when someone is plotting against you. So we can never say that, Israel had all the intelligence. They might have had intelligence that it's going to happen the following weekend, not that weekend. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the reaction is a bit disproportionate based on what occurred. What Hamas did was, it was uncalled for and can never be justified. Yeah. But however, this collective punishment now, which is happening to the people of Gaza or the Palestinians, I think it's something which just needs to be addressed and called out for what it is. Yes, some, of the biblical faith or Christian faith or whatever religion who you are, who you believe, whatever the end times or whatever you believe in, may say it can be justified. It's part of the written or it needs to happen for the fulfillment. But I think,
But we can't rewrite. We can't write history ourselves.
Yes,
it has to happen naturally, not us instigating that to happen.
Yes. Yeah. And so I think obviously, we always know we from the information being shared, human shields are being used by Hamas. Again, that needs to be called out.
Yes.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of wrongs that are happening on
there's
both
a lot
sides.
of wrongs, but I think, speaking to another colleague who justifies that the IDF can do a more surgical operation. I don't think when you're entering some places like Gaza, there's ability for being surgical because they're all over the place, hiding behind innocent humans. So how can you be surgical?
It's come out that they know where the tunnels are. They've actually brought out a map of the tunnels. So, look, man, the way Israel is technologically advanced, it's probably the most technologically advanced country in that area, or if not in the world itself. They have ways. They know where those tunnels are.
Yeah,
that's my thinking.
Yeah, one of the best military intelligence in the world.
Exactly.
And you tell me they cannot, execute a surgical intervention into the tunnels of Hamas.
They know.
They have the capacity and the capability to do it, but taking on to what Tinas was talking about, that there is a hidden agenda behind the execution of what they are doing at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's uncalled for, And these little kids, they haven't wronged anyone.
No.
Those old people, those, innocent civilians, on both sides, not to say we do not condone Hamas, what they've done. And on the flip side, we do not condone what the IDF is doing.
Yeah.
Because it's all wrong. No wrong can right another wrong.
Yeah, there's definitely it feels like it was a well thought after plan. Yeah. And unfortunately, Hamas were not well prepared for what would come after what they did.
Yeah,
which again is also unfair for their people, because if you go and slap Captain P, and I don't have a plan to what is going to come after me,
yes,
that's a poor decision on my part. You know what I'm saying?
like what happened. I think there was a war historian. I saw it briefly on YouTube when he was talking to say Hamas did not calculate. They were looking back at the Yom Kippur War, like looking at the first 3 days of Israel's response, but they did not look at the 15 days after.
Yeah.
When the Yom Kippur happened, where Israel really went full on.
Yeah.
So they just thought that, the international outcry will stop Netanyahu, because I think he knows this is his last hurrah as a prime minister, and he's going full throttle.
Yeah.
I don't think whether he succeeds to finish the term or they dismiss him, I don't think he will ever come back to be prime minister. So he's going gung-ho. So they did not really calculate that. They were calculating that US is going to intervene and, everything is going to stop. But you have to remember the establishment, which is in the US now, needs to recover after 4 years of not making money from wars.
Yeah,
because Donald Trump wasn't there. Donald Trump.
I was also seeing some videos where some of the people that are being captured there, apparently the Americans that are fighting that war. And then another interesting thing that again, after, you start going down a rabbit hole when you start going into these issues. And so apparently, most of the people that are sitting in the US Senate, that are sitting in places of power, basically, the Federal Reserve, all these places that have got the key parts of the US economy, they all have dual citizenship with Israel. I found that to be quite interesting.
Wow.
Yes, I found that to be quite. I think, unfortunately, I have the video. I'll share with you guys. But I found that to be quite interesting. That you sit in influential places of a country, but you have dual citizenship. So your loyalty can easily be fledged to another country.
Like you saw, I was talking to another colleague about the response. I think there were those uni students who supported Hamas, and some big CEO said that we won't be employing these students who've signed, and other big businesses should sign that. Why didn't that happen to all those people who are against the Black Lives Matter rally?
Exactly.
Right? There were people who wrote articles, who went on the news to be against BLM, but there were no threats of them not getting jobs. Right? We can go down this rabbit hole of what ifs and what ifs. At the end of the matter, what the IDF is doing is an uncalled for response.
Yeah. So what about today's ceasefire issue?
Oh, but he
doesn't want a ceasefire.
Netanyahu is not even entertaining that. He said flat out, no, that's not going to happen. So he definitely wants to leave a dent in the history of Israel and Palestine, and the history of the world as well.
So how do we differentiate that from a calculated ethnic cleansing?
No, you can't, because if there's the most powerful people in the world are supporting him, so you can't draw that line.